So, we just got back from date night.
Yeah,
Did you have fun?
I did. I had a great time. It was a great restaurant.
Yeah, it was really good. Time was pretty good.
Mhm.
But anyway, we had date night every week. We try to have date night.
Mhm.
We're very, very dedicated to having date night.
I would say so.
However, it got me wondering, how much money do we spend on date nights to keep date night going?
Mm.
And not just date night, but just eating outside the home.
Okay.
So I was just curious. I looked it up. USDA had a statistic. 11.2% of the average American's household income, disposable income, excuse
Okay.
me,
Okay.
goes to food.
Okay.
And 5.9% of that 11.2. So we're talking about over half of that
Right.
is eating out,
Yeah.
not groceries.
Okay.
Eating out.
Gotcha. Now, is that significant? Is that a lot?
It's like $3,600 a year. You know, on average.
On average. So some people could be like 5,000
Yeah.
a year.
Yeah.
Okay. That can add up. That can add up pretty quickly. Okay. Gotcha.
I'm just thinking about, I think the average savings account is less than $1,000. So that's perspective. Right?
Assuming our wealth is that. Is you trying to say? Oh man,
No. All
Okay.
I'm saying is that's
Okay.
significant.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I was wondering, is there a way you can be a social person, you
Sure.
can be committed to date night with your honeymoon
Sure.
and not spend all your disposable income or a significant part of your disposable income on eating out?
Yeah.
Is there a way?
Well, I think it's a segue into two things. One, I'm sure people are going to probably be asking, what are alternatives? What are some cheap, fun date ideas? Maybe that's another video series at another time. But then two, I feel like from the pandemic, we're all rebounding still of being able to go out, being able to interact again, which is like revenge eating out because we couldn't eat. Right. Because we couldn't be social. We couldn't, go out for some drinks at a point. And so it's like, no, now we understand just how precious that is. And I don't know if the restaurants understand that too. So I don't know. I can't think of that, but I know when I couldn't, I missed it a lot.
Yeah.
So it's just hard. I would say it's really hard to be social. It's really hard to kind of be involved and engaging without gathering around food, gathering around drinks. Like what are you gonna gather around? Like I guess you can gather around some games or something like that, but it's social pressure.
That's what I know. There's social pressures, but I was thinking about that. I think maybe it goes back to resurrecting, if you will, the art of hospitality. Going out, go out with your friends, hang out.
Sure.
Instead of maybe going to that new restaurant all the time, and because new restaurants opening up, I don't know, every day.
Right.
Depending on where you live.
Right.
Maybe having a game night where everyone comes and brings
Okay.
and
And then you go around house to house.
Yeah.
Okay.
In
So
your friend group.
all right. So if you listen to this video, think about your friend group right now. And imagine you pitching this to them saying, all right, what we're going to do instead of going out to this restaurant, getting dressed up, going out to eat, let's set up a schedule where we go weekend to weekend, house to house, playing in a game, having like a potluck. Like, would your friends really, like, how many of your friends will really be down with that or would support?
Well, here's the thing. I think it comes down to the pitch.
Okay. Sure.
And the effort. This is what I'm talking about, the art of hospitality.
Yeah.
Getting creative. For example, I'm not trying to, dig up myself, but we have hosted some amazing game nights at our home.
Yes.
Everyone loved them. The
agree.
last one was a Pekino night. Old school game.
Yeah.
But super fun to play. We had folded tables, which we had in the house.
Yeah.
We set the tables. We had everyone bring literally their roll of pennies. So we're not talking 5.9% of your disposable income.
Yeah.
And we had just very inexpensive food. And everyone had a blast.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was like, when's the next one?
Yeah, it was definitely memorable.
So I'm just thinking about what we spent on our 2-person dining out experience.
Sure. That'd have been a nice game night.
That'd have been a whole
Yeah.
game night for like,
And-
we had like, what, 20 people here?
Yeah, that's true. And it's more memorable. You get a better experience. But I guess sometimes going out to eat can be an easy button at times as well. Like you make a reservation, going to this place, I don't have to worry about, getting my house in order, who's coming, who's not, what allergies people have, like the logistical part of it all. I don't have to worry about that. I can kind of outsource that. We're all going to be at this restaurant. We're going to, have a good time, and then we're going to go home. And then I guess some people can be thinking about that awkward game nights where some people just stick around just a little too long.
Go past track.
But not to get off a tangent, it happens. But I do think there is a case for creativity, where maybe for your date night, it's a book reading. You go to some type of coffee shop and you read some books together, or you play a game together, or
Wait a minute. You criticize group game night and you propose reading today.
Yes.
It's reading night, but
Yes.
just with your friends, with the homies. For real?
maybe reading that with the homies is not.
Yeah, girl, itching that.
Yeah, but I just remember. I remember that pressure that I felt, and it was my internal pressure. Like, okay, it's Sunday, it's after church, we're all going out to eat, and I'm looking at my budget on Saturday, like, I guess I'm gonna have tea and maybe salad. Like, I'm going to split a salad because I didn't want to be like, no, we're not going to fellowship, we're not going to go out after church. But at the same time, my budget was like, no, we're not going to fellowship. What are you gonna what? And I didn't want to be. At the time, I didn't want to be antisocial or to be weird, like, hey, I guess I could have been. Instead of going out to this restaurant, how about everybody join me at my house?
Yeah.
Maybe cash at me what you were going to pay at the restaurant.
Wow, I'm not about that. You sound like you hustle. He's so much Christianish.
I have a buffet set up, very mighty, and then I'm keeping about 15%.
Okay.
For the next time people want to go out.
Right. No. But here's what I do think it comes down to is communicating. Like, I know we went through that. We were on this hardcore debt elimination journey earlier on in our marriage. And a lot of our friends were having events, birthday parties, graduating from graduate school, or whatever, having babies.
Correct.
And we couldn't afford, to do all the festivities and pay to, you have this restaurant, you have this restaurant. But I don't know why anyone's embarrassed to say, hey, I'm really trying to be financially healthy, friend. If you're really a friend, I'm trying to be financially healthy, and I will break my budget doing this. So I'll come, I'll have an unsweetened tea, or something. Unsweetened for me because I'm washing sugar. But anyway, my point is, and hey, I don't want you to feel weird. I'm not gonna stay the whole time. I'm gonna come, I'm gonna show my face, show my support, and then I'm out. I just feel like a real friend would understand that. It's on feeling certain type of way or
but then also I think people need to understand, like, we had to have what I would call a drive-by season where we couldn't stay. All we could do was
the FBI started listening to the
no pirates, no guns intended, but all we could do is drive by, like, hey, I'm sorry, can't stay, drive off a car, say hello, shake a few hands, hug a few people, and then we have to leave. So we're still showing up, we're still being present, so we're not being antisocial. But it was a drop-by season. It was just like, hey, right now, we don't want to seem antisocial, but all the best we could do is drive by. But then I go on a little tangent here. There was one larger event at a very nice restaurant that we really couldn't afford at the time, and I wore magic tricks during that time.
You did bring magic tricks.
So we'll get into that story, but that being said,
actually.
I don't mind being aware.
It was a really, really, like, someone that I consider a sister, even though we don't share blood. But yeah, I call her my sister, and it was a milestone birthday.
Yeah.
And yeah, we was gonna be at a restaurant that we knew was very expensive
Yeah.
and did not fit in our budget. And we couldn't afford, if you remember, we knew we couldn't afford both a present for her and some type of food
Yep.
that evening. And so my husband prepared a custom personal magic show
Yeah.
for her. And
Yeah.
she loved it.
Yeah.
You know, so again, that's my point. That was creative.
Right. Right.
That was creative.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree with that. But the willingness to be a weirdo for a little bit.
Yeah.
Because we all know, you know, what we can and what we can't do. But it's that pressure to state that, or the fatigue of having to say it over and over again, especially if you have a pretty large friend group,
Yeah.
to have to continually repeat yourself, and then you become like, oh, that person's cheap, or you know, you get labeled with all these names. It's like, no, actually have a purpose for my money, and what you're asking me to do right now, while I really want to do it, it just doesn't align with the purpose. And it's short term. It is really short term pain, if you will, for those long term gains. But to make that decision when it's a spontaneous event happening with your friends, or there's a big concert coming in that only happens, you know, once in a lifetime. I was talking to somebody, it's a new term. I don't think it's a new term, but it's called pregame. Like, what's the pre? What are we doing before the show? And then what are we going to do during, or what are we going to do after? Like, that's pretty costly. Like, that can add up pretty quickly. So yeah, you got to be okay with being a weirdo in some cases. Like, yeah, I'm sorry, I'm going to show up right now. I'm making only do a drive by or something like that, and then, you know, hopefully later you can darn or do the house party.
So I got 2 comments to that.
Sure.
1, you're my little weirdo. I love you.
Appreciate that.
2, if anybody's friends give them grief for trying to get out of debt and take care of their family household finances in a healthy way, those ain't your friends.
They're not your friends. Yeah. They're not your friends. Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, that's a great point. It's a hard truth though at the same time, because of that peer pressure. So that being said, you heard our ideas. If you like this video, definitely please feel free to share. We'd love to hear your feedback in the comments, and continue to follow us at Naked and Rich.